Okay, so we're going to speak a little bit about Spawn. Obviously, not going to talk about, and we're going to talk about comic books. What's your feeling about reaching issue 350 on the Spawn ongoing series? Because you were already breaking the records a few years back with Spawn 300, so it's another one, and we are going to have another one in a few years if you reach a number 400.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. I mean, just in terms of the numbering, it just tells people and reinforces to me that I've been around a long time, right? So there is a value when you have a brand or an idea or characters that the longer they are around, the better it is, because that means you have survived both the highs and the lows of life, right? Economic life, people life, pandemics, you name it, everything's here. So when I started collecting comic books, it's interesting because it seems to be the opposite today. But when I collected comic books when I was younger, the ones that had the bigger numbers were the ones that were my favorite, because to me, I was like, wow, they've been around for decades and they've survived. They've survived everything. And the ones that were like number 7, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to make it. But I knew that Action Comics and Superman and the Fantastic Four, they're up in the hundreds and hundreds. So I take a pride that to get to 350 issues, not only is it a record, which it is, but to get there, you have to have been around for well over 30 years, right? Shoot, that's a victory. That's a victory in and of itself. So, but that's it. And here's the thing, I know. I was having a conversation with Eric Stevenson, the publisher of Image Comics. And I was saying to him, we were talking about issue 350. And I said, if you ignore the world record, which was the 300 issues, if you ignore those, take those, put those to the side.
Just the 50 issues is quite a big number.
Right. And so we were trying to come up with how many books have we done at Image that they've reached 50 issues. And off the top of our head, in 30 years, Image has been around for 30 years, right? So we've been around for a bit. And in 30 years, we could only come up with 3 books outside of the original founders or the partners, right? So you don't include Spawn or Walking Dead or Invincibles or, the Witchblade or Dragon. Those were all from partners or founders. The rest of the community, in 30 years, we could only come up with 3. Saga, Deadly Class, and I think
Black Science?
Dark Science, maybe it just got there. So 3, 4. It was, and again, I'm sure we missed 1 or 2, but I can count them on a hand. In 30 years, all the creative people in comic books globally have maybe done 4 in 30 years. Although I'm proud of getting 350, but let alone 50, it's a little disheartening in all that time that there's a handful of people that have with their property. And I think that Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead, and will tell you that, and I'll tell you the same because I got 300 issues, that having a long run of your book matters. And I know it matters because almost every single one of those books reached 50 got side of the bubble of comic books. So if you're trying as a creator to come up with something so it becomes famous outside of comic, The Walking Dead, then the answer is we'll do 50 issues of it. Because they all got out. Dragon was a comic. Dragon was a cartoon. Spawn was a movie. Walking Dead TV show. Invincible TV show. Class TV show. Saga. Brian just said no, so it wasn't because he couldn't. He just decided not to. Witchblade TV show. Like it's almost 100%. If you get to 50 issues, you're going to get outside of comic books. But I don't know. It's so I'm on one hand, I feel good, and I know people go, "Oh my gosh, Todd." But on the other hand, I wish I had lots more company.
But were you never tempted about doing a reboot in all these years?
Never.
Never.
Not 1 second. Not 1 second.
Because what my question would be like, if you're a new reader in 2023, wouldn't you be like scared of beginning reading Spawn comics because there's so many numbers? What would you say to a youngster that would ask, "Hey Todd, I just want to read Spawn, but I don't know if I have to start by number 1," because obviously it's not the good answer. Would you say?
I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. And here's why. Over in your country, you guys have soccer. So you have your parish team, right? Okay. Why would anybody be a fan of that team? Because you've never seen all the games that team has ever played. Didn't get to see them in the 50s. Didn't get to see them in the 60s. Why? Because you were born in 2001. So why follow your football team? You've missed all those games and all that history. It's a con. It's a con. What are you talking about? You're telling me then that the next Harry Potter book that comes out, that the only people that should be reading that next Harry Potter book are the people who read all the other ones prior to it? Of course not. Of course not. We do this all the time. All the time. On TV. Take your favorite TV show. I bet you haven't seen every single episode. I don't get it. And here's the other piece of it. Let me see if I can. I'll grab some.
Yeah.
I have a comic book in front of me, handy. You're talking about a number. A number, period. And if the reason somebody is buying my book is for a number, I don't want them. Arnaud. So if you're saying to me, I have the best writer in comics and the best artist and the best colorist and the best letterer, but the issue is 312. But if I take those exact same people and the exact same character and the exact same story, and I erase 312 and I put the number 1, and that's the only fucking reason you're going to buy the book, you're buying it for the wrong reason. Look, here's what I've said before. If that's all it takes, I will put 312 on this side, and I will put issue number 1 on that side. I'll put 2 numbers on my book, the big number and the number 1. And then next issue, I'll do 313 and number 1, and 314 and number 1, and 315 and number 1. If all of the reason you're buying it is because of a number, then you are buying it for the wrong reason. I thought you were buying it because you liked it, or you were curious, or you wanted to try something else. You don't have to know every single second of Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men, or any other hero. You don't have to have watched every Doctor Who episode to jump in and enjoy it. Why do we have this conversation? It's a bizarre conversation. By the way,
I do agree, Todd, but it's discussions I've seen mostly in France also. So I wanted to have your opinion. But by the way,
I totally agree with you. It's a good question. I seem to be in the minority with that thinking, though. But here's
I do agree.
Here's the piece. At the end of the day, have I seen Marvel and DC and lots of other people reboot their books? Of course. Do they do number ones? Of course. I only have one question for both of those companies. Given that you did the reboot, because again, then people will come on and you're not going to scare them. Okay, so if the goal is to get new people to come in, I get it. I only have one question. Are you selling more comic books today than you were 30 years ago? The answer is no. I know what the data is. The answer is no. So if you're doing this because you think more readers are coming, then it's not working. So you got a graph, and the graph is going down, and then you go number one, and it pops, and then it keeps going down, and then you go number one, it pops, and it keeps going down, and number one. It's like a stock that goes down. A stock in the stock market doesn't go in a straight line. It zigzags down. At the end of the day, you're not selling anymore. I don't know how many tricks, how many reboots, how many number one are you selling more Spider-Mans today than you were 30 years ago? No. So I want to replicate and duplicate something that business-wise, forget entertainment-wise, business-wise, has no upside. As a matter of fact, it says quite the opposite. So I don't know. I'll else do it, not me.
I wanted to know also how you were working with all your partners in terms of writers and artists, and even there's an editor-in-chief of the Spawn comic book. So how are you managing the whole artistic and editorial stuff to put 4 ongoing series at the same time? And you even announced more projects during last summer.
Yeah, we're going to announce more here at New York Comic Con. So the I would argue that I'm actually going too slow, right? It took me almost 30 years to go from one book to more than one book. 30 years, right? If anything, people are like, Todd, come on, 30 years. Marvel started with Fantastic Four in 1961, and then all of a sudden 30 years, 1991, that was when I was doing Spider-Man. They had hundreds of books, right? So they're doing hundreds of books. DC did hundreds of books after 30 years. I'm up to 4. Maybe if I double it, I'll get up to 8. Like, big deal. They did hundreds. It doesn't take very many people to put out books. What you need creative people, obviously. But to have a staff, I don't need a big staff to put out 8 books. I need lots of creative people.
Are you doing like weekly meetings to set up the storylines for each book? Are you planning maybe for a crossover, a big crossover between all the books at some point?
Maybe. And here's why I say I was never a fan of forcing people to have to buy all your books because you're doing a crossover, right? I didn't like. I was a collector. I like big event, right? Well, oh my God, we're going to have the crisis. I didn't buy was now you got to go get the Flash book and this book and that book. These little. I didn't want to buy books that I was not collecting. So I think it's overdone. I think you contain your story in a big event, a series in 2, 3 titles, and not touch. We're having conversations trying to sort of repeat exactly what the big companies do. I'm not fond of some of the business they do. I mean, look, my books are the cheapest on $2.09, right? Everybody else is at least $99. Some are even $4.99. Right? I got the cheapest comic book. Basically means I'd take your money. I could go to $3.99. Nobody would complain. It would be the same as everybody else. But I just like, no, I got a good life. I'm okay. I don't need any more money from my fans. So that mentality isn't going to then carry over and say, hey, I'm going to do a crossover and you got to buy all my books, because I'm taking advantage, I think, of my fans. I don't want to be that guy. I'll leave that to others. So anyways, we're trying to do a slow, probably too slow growth of some of it. And when I phone creative people, I don't assume that they necessarily want to do what I want to do. So my first question, like if I was phoning you and you were going to do some work, I would say, hey, I don't know, what is it that you like to do? If you're an artist, I ask, what do you like to draw? And then which characters of any of the ones that are in my universe do you like? And then if there's a writer, which I ask sort of the same questions, and then I ask, well, when can you do work? And can you do a little bit of work or can you do a lot of work? Right? I don't phone them and say, hey, you need to do this for me. I do it the opposite. What can, you're very good, you're very talented. I would be very thankful to have you do artwork for me. So you tell me how I can get art and stories and writing from you. You tell me, and I'll see if I can make it work. So I like to have the creative people part of the process.
Okay. I don't know if we have time for one more question, because
you can keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit also about the new series that were announced this summer? When are we going to see them in comic shops?
We're scheduling that because we've got a couple of the other new ones. It's oddly, for some of them, I'm just waiting for the art to get done. Because once you have the art done, then you can solicit it and you know it's coming, right? Yeah. I don't want to solicit a book unless it's a monthly, and say, hey, here it is coming in February, and then put the pressure on the artist. So I usually, as I said before, I ask the artist, how fast can I get the artwork? And if you need more time, go ahead, as long as it's not a monthly. Take your time, and as soon as it's done, then I will put it out. So it's hard for me to say exactly because I'm waiting for some of the art to get finished. But as the art gets finished, we're gonna put it for sale. Yep.
Okay. I had also another question, because it's a little bit off topic, but not completely. I was really wondering. You were doing NFTs like a year ago, and I couldn't figure.
I'm still doing it. We did one. We did one yesterday, and it sold out in 4 minutes. Yeah.
And I can't figure. It's maybe just because I don't understand the NFTs, but I can't figure why you would go into that business, because it's especially as an artist, because you're selling like digital copies of drawings that no one really owns.
Okay, so let me see if I can explain it. So just so you know, I don't favor NFTs over any other thing. So let me just get you into my head, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
NFT, digital art, I call it digital art, is a format. It's a format, right? TV is a format, video games, comic books, toys, T-shirts, everything is a format to put art on, right? So all we're talking about now is the format. I'm in the art business, Arnaud. I don't give a shit where people find my art. I'm not selective. I would put art on the side of an airplane if people would pay attention to it. I don't care where my art is. So some people collect comic books and physical stuff, and some people can't do it that way, right? For two reasons. The two big reasons for people other than people who like digital art is you live in a country where shipping for a physical product, you buy that book for $20, it costs you an extra $70 to ship it. It's cost prohibitive. You can't really afford that. So you either say I get zero or I get the digital version of it. That's why people do digital comic books, right? Cool. Or you live in Tokyo and your room that you live in is as big as what you see behind me. And you can't collect toys and statues and anything because you only have 300 feet behind me. And you can't do it. So you either get zero or you figure out how to do it digitally. Now, there's other reasons to do it. But now let's just talk about the other silly argument. There's a lot of silly arguments in my mind. People will say, my wife included, Todd, like, why do you want to buy something? It's like, it's not real. I got to hold it. It's got to be physical. They're not really getting anything. There's no value. Here's the piece. There's no value to it, whatever else. Now, here's the absurdity to me of this argument. And I'm not advocating NFT. I'm just saying it's just a you either like it or you. But everybody who says that there's no value to digital art is doing it themselves. They're already doing it. Almost every person in the world that has electricity is already doing quasi NFTs. So here's how it works. Give me your phone. All right, give me your phone. And then I'm going to go to your pictures. And when I go to your pictures, I'm going to show you a picture. And there's a picture of you and your grandchild. Right? Whatever. I don't care. Whoever's in front of me. There's you and your grandchild. Right? Now, it's a nice picture of you and your grandchild. When I show it to you, you put a smile on your face. So you're getting some value out of that picture. Right?
Yeah.
Because you like it, it puts a smile on your face. Do you know that picture of your grandchild? Do you know that's not your physical grandchild? Do you know that's only a digital representation of your grandchild? That's not actually your real child. It's a picture, a digital picture. Now, why can you get value out of looking at something digitally and it puts a smile on your face, but you're going to resent or you don't understand somebody else doing exactly what you're doing? I don't know. The world and arguments by adults at times are bizarre to me. So, and here's the easy answer, Arnold.
Yep.
If you don't like it,
don't buy it.
go spend your time and money on things you do. Period. I don't know why people want to tell me or anybody else why they don't like something. I don't know. I don't understand it. The human race at times confuses me. Do you know, Arnaud, that I do not like Brussels sprouts?
What?
Do you know what a Brussels sprout is?
Yeah. Yeah, bretzel en France. Ouais.
Yeah. Do you know that I don't like them?
That's sad.
No, but do you know that?
That I didn't.
Yeah. You know why? Because I never fucking told you. I never told anybody. I just don't buy. And eat and consume Brussels sprouts. It's that simple. What I don't do is go to BrusselsSprouts.com and go, why do you have these? Why do you make them? I like broccoli and spinach way better. I don't give a shit why you like any of my artwork or why you do.
Can I try an argument with you?
Pardon me?
Can I try an answer to that?
Go.
Yeah, but I think that people were disliking the format that we're talking about because some artists saw their artwork stolen by other people that would sell them as NFTs. And also, I don't know if that's okay with the technology you're using, but there was also a problem of energetic costs of using the whole blockchain stuff, and people were actually like saying that it was bad for the whole planet because we are in the middle of a climate crisis, and then this kind of technology were worsening things. So maybe that's why, particularly on the digital art, people were, and I was also, I have to, I'll be honest with you, not liking the format.
But here's, unfortunately, Arno, and I've heard all the arguments, because somebody says something doesn't make it true.
Well, there were facts about the costs.
No, yeah, no, then you go educate yourself. The guy who started that argument ended up disavowing it because people did exactly what you're doing. It got its own life, and he said, no, it could, but he couldn't prove it. And the guy that everybody sort of goes to, the origin of that argument, the guy who wrote the paper disavows his own paper, his own work. But people don't know that. So did it take more energy at the beginning? Yes, it did. Does it take the same energy today? It takes about 1/10,000th less energy now. So it's been solved. And oh, by the way, the guy who said there was a problem actually said, well, I couldn't really confirm that it was a problem. So, but this is just what ends up happening. People just say, I don't like the format, and stop with like, my neighbor said something, because it's not true. It's not true. Like go after this interview, go do the homework. So, but if that's your reason, that's fine. And again, that's a reason, then just don't do it. But there's somebody behind you who might like it, right? So why would I get an NFT? It's art. It's art. I don't care how people consume my art. I don't care.
Fair enough, and thank you for your honesty and your answer. I have a last question. I know that your PRs mentioned that we couldn't talk about the Spawn movie because of the SAG-AFTRA strike that is still on board, but I didn't want to speak about the actors. But do you? My question was because you mentioned in a recent interview that there were only like 60 pages of scripts that had to be done to get the script complete.
About 30.
No, 30. Yeah, 30. Sorry. So are you like Jason Blum hoping or claiming that in the end a Spawn movie will be out like in 2 years? Because Jason Blum, the producer, said he's aiming for 2025. So are you okay with that goal?
Yeah, I wish it came out in 2019. What are you talking about, Arno? So what Jason Blum is doing is there actual time, if everything goes right, is there time to have a movie come out in 2025? The answer is yes. He's made hundreds of movies. He knows what he's talking about. So could we finish the script this year? Yes. Could we do the rewrites this year? Yes. Could we sell the movie either at the end of this year or early beginning of next year? Yes. Could we film the movie in 2024? Yes. Could we then edit it and market it early in 2025, and so that we have it ready for Halloween of 2025? Yes. There's time. Could it get yes, if all of those things happen that all of us hope happens, then 2025 is a reasonable time. Yes. So will it happen? I don't know. We'll check back. Check back. Right. Check back. We'll see. I have options. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen one way or the other. So because this has just been going on way too long, so I'm losing my patience with Hollywood a little bit. But anyway, it was a fair statement given the amount of time still left between now and 2025 that we could get a movie done. Sure.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I got the double the time that your PRs allowed me. So thank you a lot. It's really precious, and it was really a good discussion. And I hope I didn't anger you.
Oh, no. I appreciate the question because, again, I'm very passionate, and ultimately, I just do what I do, and then I just let other people do what they do, right? I mean, I just if you like what I do, I appreciate the support. If you don't, then I would go and find stuff that you like, that you can support. I mean, life can be kind of simple, even on the artistic side and the consumer side. So, but there's a couple of things, like if you don't like my art, I understand that. My mom doesn't like it, right? So, but to say my art shouldn't exist at times, that's censorship. I get a little testy about saying it shouldn't exist. I understand a person might not want to consume it, but to say that I shouldn't be able to even have it exist, that's a whole nother conversation, right? And then the other parts are, okay, you're going to have your reasons for it. I'll see if I can counter your reasons, right? So, and here we go. But like, God bless everybody. They should just do what makes them happy. I do. I do. So.